Hello, I just want to show you how to use Motsepe code number and how it came about. Alright, thank you. Let's just see. Motsepe code. It's MC. It's digit or number. So since it's like this, is digit or number, then I said alright, since it's like this, let me just take this, and I said alright, I take that one, and I took this one, and I said alright, it's number. Then I said this one, then I said alright, it's then I said alright, let me change this one because I have E there, let me use it as number get, right? And then it becomes like that. Then along the way I said alright, since it's like this, let me just give it like this, E number get, of which is DG. Alright, anyway, that's how the name came about. Alright, it doesn't matter anyway, but what's important is the hashtag and the X. Let's just write it again, it's very interesting. The hashtag and the X, when you use numbers, remember when we were using in weights and all these alphabets, it was this hashtag and an X. Now when you use number, automatically this thing they join together, and when they join together it becomes this sign. The sign becomes like this to prove that you are using number. When you use weights, the sign become like this, but when you use number, the sign become like this. That's the difference. That's the difference. Now since it's like this, we know about it. We now say alright, if it's like that, which means you are now silencing it's no longer the digits are no longer what you call, let me say not digit, actually the inclusive and exclusive of which is the dots are no longer valid here, which means they are silent. You keep them silent. Like for example, the dots like this one, of which is the open dots and the closed dots. So now, since these are the dots, this is inclusive and exclusive. It's an inclusive dots and an exclusive dots. Again, it still works like that again, even if you can escalate the matter in the mathematical field. So now, since it's like this is let me write it so that you can understand. It's inclusive and this one is exclusive. Now since this one is exclusive, this one is inclusive. That's the difference between the two. This one I call it this one is an open dot, or this one is a solid dot. You can still call it solid dot, it's fine like that. Now since it's like this, we know when these things are silent, which means they are not in existence. Here we call it 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and 9. Since it's like this, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, then it was a little bit of a challenge since it's like this, but then I came to a conclusion that since this thing is like this, I said alright, because I know this sign is for A and B, this one is for B, C and D as you go. Then I said alright, since we know for that one for alphabets and I said alright, let me just omit everything because normally a phone, most of the time it has a button like that. And then since the button are like that, then I said, alright, let me just silent everything so that this one, it can be 1, it can represent 1, and then this one, the sign like this can represent 2, that sign like this can represent 3, the sign like that can represent 4, the sign like that can represent 5, the sign like that can represent 6, the sign like that can represent 7, and then the sign like this one can represent 8, the sign like this one can represent 9. That's how it came about. So since it's like this, now we know that this is the number. The number are like this, which means whenever you want to use 1, you just say, okay, 1 is like this, 2 is like this, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. It's like that. So these are the number gets. These are the number gets for Motsepe code. Motsepe code has number gets. So this is how it goes. Now, looking for this and then going further, I realized that alright, since we had number gets and all this kind of stuff, there was this challenge that there's something that is missing, of which what is missing is that it doesn't have a language of which we cannot understand. You can say only this is 1 and all this is 2, 3, but you're not understanding if you are using in Motsepe code what Motsepe code the number gets, what's the meaning of it. It doesn't have a kind like a meaning, because now when you use this sign, it will automatically mean 1 to someone, and the next thing it cannot have, which means it's still deflecting, it's still going straight to the same number that it was designed for. So now I said, all right, so let me just change this one. I said, all right, it's interesting on my eyes. I said, okay, let me come with Motsepe code MC, of which is the number gets and then I said, alright, since it's like this, now I gave it, it's a language. Now we want a language. Right now, since we're looking for a language, then I said, alright, let me call this one DGL. So which means it's the number gets language. So the language for this one is very simple and straightforward. I just only said, alright, because of the time when that was when I thought about it, I said, alright, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, 4 like that, and there's 5, there's 6, there's 7, there's 8, there's 9, there's, okay, since it's like this, because we know, then I can say, okay, the other one is 0, because of 0 for Motsepe code doesn't change, it remains the same. I can even go backwards to include it as well. 0 stays 0, and then it doesn't change. Yes. So now, because of since it's like this, I realized that alright, this thing for me is interesting, because now when I look and just do my kind of understanding, I said, alright, let me come up with something interesting for myself, and of which even myself, I didn't even understand, but along the way it made it sense as time goes by. And then due to the fact that I was kind of like doing a lot of things, then I said, all right, since it's like this one it will take this one will take this one will take this one will take this one take this one that, and then this one this, and then this one that one. Then I said, all right, for this one is a little bit challenging. I said, if I take this one like this, I combine, it will be on. And I said, okay, for one, if I say on, it's going to be challenging. Then I said, all right, let me say use the word WA. I use it to kind of like exchange it so that it was from this one to this one. Then I said, all right, it will be like that. So it became like that, and then so that's how it came about. For one, it's like wa. For two, it became T and W. I just omitted O. For three, I just omitted double E at the end. For four, I just omitted U and R. For five, I omitted V and E. For six, I omitted X. For seven, I omitted V and E and N. For eight, I omitted H and T. For nine, I omitted N and E. For zero, I omitted R and O. So that's how it came about. So I said, all right, if I want to write, for example, I say 1, 1, 1. I said, okay, if I use this 1, 1, I said, which means I'm going to take this one three times. It's going to be wa, wa, wa. That's how it came about. Which means I said, alright, instead of writing 111, I will write wa, wa, wa. That's how it came about. So if I want to write 2, 2, 2, I said, alright, let me just use this. It will be TW, TW, TW. That's how it came about. So which means for this one, 2, 2, 2, triple 2 is going to be TW, 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 of which someone can even say, use the term and still say flow, 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 in the sense of other people, how they can think about it. Because I realize even here in our country, we realize that most of the time 20 rands have what you call an elephant, of which an elephant in Tswana is flow. Then I said, alright, it still makes sense for me. Then I said, alright, it's going to be flow, 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 of which is 2, 2, 2. Then that's how it works. Then I said, alright, for 3, I said, let me check with 3, 3. I said, alright, 3. I said, alright, let me write it like that, and that, and that, and that, which means THR, THR, THR. Which means, in the most case, when I thought about that, I said, alright, normally 333, it sounds like, okay, it's like a call. 333, it's ringing, something like that. So he's like, alright, that's how I came about it. I said, alright, it's like that. Then I said, it made sense for me, and then it worked like that. I said, alright, let me use for 4, 4, 4. I said, alright, for 4, 4, 4, I said, I only omit U and R as I said it. I said, okay, it will be F, O, F, O, F, O. It will be 4, 4, 4. So then that's how it came about for 4, 4, 4. So I said, alright, since it's like that, let me leave that one aside. Then I said, alright, this is how it came about. Then I said and it's 5, 5, 5. Then I said, alright, for 5, 5, 5, I said, let me just write 5, and then write 5, and then another 5. I said, okay, it will mean that 5, 5, 5, 5, it will mean fee because I omitted VNE, so it will be fee, which means in my side or in my language it means you give. It's 5, so it's fa, something like that. Then you come to the other one, of which you come to 666, right? 666 again. Still say, all right, for 6 it's you take S and I, of which you omit S. X is going to be S I, of which is SI. So it means C, of which to me it made sense, because it was like, oh, when you normally get 6, for example, out of 10, it means you normally fine, because it's 60%, of which is still fine, of which is C. Then it means clap your hands. We give you you did good job, well done. So it was C. So then that's how it came about. Then I was like, all right, that's interesting as well. Then I said, all right, let me check others. I said, let me see for 777. I said for 77 it's going to be interesting as well. I said, all right, 7 is going to be, you say C. Then I said, oh, this is interesting. It's C, of which is like you are saying some yak. It's like saying that in the other sign, like it sounds like you're saying yak. So that's how it came about. So that's how it was for 777. Then I said, all right, let me check for another one. Let me see for 888. I said 888. I said, okay, let me see what it's going to say to me. I said it's going to say 8. Sorry about that. It's just that the space is limited. Then I said, okay, it says egg. So which means to me it was like egg. So for me, I was like, all right, since it's like this, it's kind of like an interesting thing. You can say it means like, you can even say, all right, it means egg if you like. Or you can even say, if you don't want to say egg, you can say it means like something like, you can say it's EGI, of which is ach. Or you can say, but this one I prefer this one because I know this one why it made sense for me. It was egg for me. Then I said this one, it still makes sense for me. I said, oh, when you see 8, it means egg. For me it was like, okay, they're saying 8, egg. Now it was like, oh, it's interesting on my eyes. I was like, egg. I was like, all right, it's fine for 8. Then I was like, which means it's fine like that. Then I said, all right, let me check for the last one. Probably maybe it's the last, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, probably the second last. It's let's see, it's 9 and 9 and 9. I said, all right, since it's like this, it's interesting. Let me just find something. For 9, I said it's going to be na and na and na. It will be 9. So which means it means 9. So in other words, for that, it was a kind of like a interesting part as well, because that's how it was. So other people, when they hear a word like that, it means that it's kind of like 10 off or something like that, of which it's a thumb down, which means it's 10 off, something like that. That's how it came about. Okay, so I was like, all right, let me do the last one, of which it's 0 and 0 and 0 and 0 0 0. I said okay, it's going to be Z Z Z. Then for 0 it means Z Z Z. I was like, wow, this is interesting as well. It means Z Z Z. I was like, wow, this is still makes sense for me, because when you get 0 0 0, which means most of the time it means that you are not well, something is not right, and then all this kind of stuff, which means you kind of like not performing well. It means you are not, you didn't do nothing, which means your work was a waste or something. So which means you are still at 0, you have nothing at all. So I was like, okay, this is interesting in my eyes. I said, all right. Then I said, it makes sense for me. Then I was like, all right, since it's like that, I call this one, I said, it's going to be Z electronics. It still makes sense. It's still Z electronics, because I was like, all right, this is how it is. Motsepe code, it's Z electronics because of the Z. Someone will be like, oh, maybe it could be the reason why in South Africa they say ZA, because of maybe they could say they exchange the A with the E with an A, so that we can have ZA and say, oh, this is South African money, ZA. You understand? Maybe this is what I'm thinking in my mind, but I was like, all right. And then maybe in another country you can say, oh, maybe this one, it means they said, oh, it's euro, oh, something like that. It's up to you how you take it, but either way it's not important in my mind. But what I was just showing you is that, so you can mix the two and say, if you want, maybe you have 12 is let's say 1 and 2, you can say it's what it means is going to be this one and that one. So it's going to be 1 and 2, which means it's going to be what or what, something like that. Something like that. It's rhyme like that, and then it continue like that to infinity number that you can think of by just only wherever you see 1, you just put this. Wherever you see 1, you put this. Wherever you see 2, you put this. Wherever you see 3, you put this. Wherever you see 4, you put this. Wherever you see 5, you put this. 6, you put this. 7, you put this. 8, you put this. 9, you put this one. And 0, you put that one, of which is Z. And then I think that's how it came about. And I found it interesting and fascinating in my mind, and I think I will use it and see how it works for me to the future as well, since this thing it came a long time and I've been using it. It's been working for me, hence I've been fine, and then kind of like happy, living a happy and a good life on my other side. So even if someone give you let's say 10 rands, you can say, all right, you gave me 10 rands. You say, all right, you don't care about the R, because the R is it goes to the Motsepe code, what you call first writing and cursive. So which means that one is fine, because the what you call the alphabet are not important here for Motsepe code Dinumber Get. So which means you just forget about that one. You say, all right, since I have this one, I say this will mean that I have wa and 0 is here, so it's going to be wise. So which means it's going to be wa, and it's going to take this sign, it's going to be Z, and then it's going to be wise. In my mind I say it's wise. So which means if you get something like that, you even someone pay you just a little money like a 10 rands or something, you say, oh, it means that I'm wise. Oh, that's fine, so that you be happy. You don't have to stress about having to make a lot of money, having to think of billions and whatever little that person gives, it will make you happy, and then you'll be like, all right, you move on in life. All right, that's how I use it. So this is a DGL, Dinumber Get Language. So that's how it goes about. All right, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful day. Cheers.